There are so many custom home builders around the San Antonio area and they're spread out like wildfire. Where can you go wrong? This video, I'm gonna tell you what you need to stay away from and the mistakes to avoid. Custom homes are expensive, so we're gonna dive right in and go over what not to do when you want to build your custom dream home. This is Trey with the Cavalry Group, broker by Real. Let's dive right in. So before we go over the mistakes, I wanna make sure that you understand the difference between a totally custom home and a semi-custom home. So let's go over the difference. A semi-custom home is basically when you go to a model home and you pick a lot that the builder already has purchased and you pick out a floor plan, and in the floor plan there is customizations if you want to bump out and make it bigger garage, if you want to make the master bigger and bump it out a few feet, all the features in there, usually you can choose, colors you can choose. That is basically what a semi-custom home is. The completely custom home is where you pick the land, and it could be from a private owner, it could be a land you already had. It's the build on your lot kind of process. So basically, you get the land and you pick the builder that you want to work with based on the plans that you get. Once you get the plans, then you customize all the colors, where the house sits, where the house direction faces. That would be essentially what a completely custom home is. There are so many great custom home builders to choose from. Where do they build? Who has the specialties? What mistakes can possibly happen? That's the biggest thing and what we're gonna go over. When you Google San Antonio custom home, there's a lot of businesses that pop up. Now, keep in mind, these are the offices of where these builders are. It does not mean that they can't build anywhere around the San Antonio suburbs. Most builders don't have a niche area or a niche specific neighborhood. They can pretty much build anywhere when it comes to a completely custom home. Before we get into the horror story of the mistakes of a custom home build, let's go into what a semi-custom home builder looks like. Journey Homes is an example of a semi-custom builder. They own all the lots, or if they are able to purchase a lot, they're going to have a specific floor plan that is able to fit on that lot before you even walk in. So they'll have it available. Now you can pick the fixtures, you can pick if you want to add a third car garage, the colors of the inside countertops. Those are the things that you can customize and choose in design centers, but the lot and the floor plan is pretty much fixed. Let's look at an example of a completely custom home. If we go to Triple R Homes here in San Antonio, Texas. So on their website, we can go over to our process. The first step of a completely home process is land, plans, and financing. So that's where I was saying you pick the land. It can be anywhere, it can be any acreage. You pick where you want to live. Then you find an architect to do the plans. If you want two houses in one, mother-in-law house, carriage house, whatever you want, then you hire the architect to do the plans. From there, that's when you get the bids from the subcontractors and you get the budget that you're willing to work with. So on a custom home, let's say it's for $900,000. So if it's a $900,000 custom home, that's gonna be your budget. It's gonna be a breakdown of how much the frame is gonna cost, how much the concrete slab, plumbing, electrical, roof. So all those numbers are gonna add up to what the budget's gonna be all together. So once you have the budget and you're comfortable with it, that's when you can go to another builder and say, hey, can you build this house and how much? You basically have the plans that you want, but the builder's going to bid out what his subcontractors do. So subcontractors, just so you know, are the framing companies, the concrete companies. A lot of these builders have these big pretty signs in front of them and say custom or production or whatever, but they use the same framing companies. One will go to one neighborhood, the same framing company is gonna go to the next neighborhood, so they share subcontractors. So once you have the lot, once you have the budget, once you have the plans, that's when you're ready to sign the contract. The contract is gonna show exactly what the sales price is. Mistake is make sure there's no escalation clause. An escalation clause is a builder saying, hey, if prices spike up, we can't build your home, we gotta charge you some. or if they do have it, make sure you know that it's in the contract. Once you sign the purchase agreement, there should be a timeline. Make sure that there is somewhat of an expectation to build it within reasonable time. There have been delays the past for, I would say, 6 months of things being behind because Texas got cold, there's a shortage of labor, materials, but now we're starting to catch up, and new home construction is actually more available than the pre-owned stuff right now in the more desirable areas. So once construction begins on a completely custom home, that's when you'll see the progress, that's when you'll get updates, and that is where pretty much the semi-custom and custom is very similar. You did all the upfront work in the very beginning. Semi-custom is not too much, right? Because you have the lot, you already have the plans, you just picked a couple fixtures. I went to my best friend Google and I looked up San Antonio custom homes because I wanted to see what people are saying. Here we have a review from Claudia about Design Tech Homes. In her review, she wrote 4 years ago, but it will teach us a really good example. It says, please look somewhere else. We had our home built a few years ago and we've had so many problems. We've had defective plumbing throughout the house, leaks everywhere, and she goes on to say that nothing was properly done. Whether you do a semi-custom home or a home, you have to get what's called phased inspections. Phased inspections are very important when they pour the foundation, before they put the drywall up, and final is before, when everything's complete, that's when you go to sign for the house. You have another inspection. Out of the many homes that I've sold with new construction, pre-owned, I have never seen a report where it didn't have a deficiency somewhere. This next review that I found is from Bayless Custom Homes. This is from Diana. She says that this person from Bayless Custom Home was disrespectful and they haven't finished it yet. We still have some doors that need to be replaced, and that they're basically taking draws and not being transparent. What she means by the draws is when you build a custom home and you're paying what's called a construction loan, is when the builder needs, let's say, $50,000 for electrical, then they will go to the bank and take a $50,000 check and you have to pay interest on that check every month. So as the draws continue and get higher and higher, which is just the cost of building a house, then you pay interest only when it comes to a construction loan. For example, if it's a $900,000 house, let's say you have a monthly payment of $3,500, then your construction loan, let's say the first month will be like $500, second, third month might be $1,500, month 6 and 7 might be about $2,000, and then once you close on the house is when you start your 30-year fixed, which is most common. Diane continues to say that the house is not built to plan. She says they never completed her home and now she's getting an attorney and now we are forced to finish our home. We found more issues with our home. This goes back to who you pick matters. I know that you want to pay less for a house, but you gotta make sure that the team you're working with has experience, that you have an advocate by your side, a realtor, an agent, somebody you know in your family. You have to have somebody with you throughout the process, and always make sure that there's a third-party inspector involved. These are definitely the mistakes to avoid. Check out my other video about new construction. It's definitely gonna help. This is Trey, thanks for watching.